everybody. It's Irene Rogue here, and I'll be hosting this lovely little roundtable today. Please do not be alarmed. I swear Rayfe is fine and compliant. Isn't that right, Rayfe? We're having fun.
Heartily endorse this event or product.
Awesome. So how's everybody doing tonight? What you been playing? What's caught your attention this past week? The world is waiting on the edge of their seats to know. Oh, wait. I forgot. I have to introduce you two, don't I?
Or at least me.
Yeah, they know I'm here.
Yeah. Sky's here too. Sky Knight, our resident unpopular opinion holder.
Hello.
So back to my first question. What you been playing lately?
Well, in my case, it's been a combination of The Sims 4. When I'm not streaming the new Strangerville content, I have been neck deep in a legacy game that at one point had 3 toddlers, and it was a lot.
Did the toddlers burn down the house? That's what we need to know.
Did not burn down the house. But then again, I am a control freak, so I was basically managing everybody all the time because that's what I do. And then the other thing I've been playing is Xenoblade Chronicles 2. I'm almost done. I'm almost ready to throw myself at the final boss. I attempted once and failed, but I've gained a few levels. I've done some things. It's almost time to end it all.
Unsavory things, I imagine.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
And Rayfe, what about you?
I can't get enough of Kamurocho. Last week I picked up Yakuza 3. I am now finished it, and I started Yakuza 4 last night. And it feels really weird. Like, I loved the storyline for Yakuza 3. It was really interesting. And now with 4, I'm not playing as Kiryu right off the bat. And that's really weird.
Who'd you start with? Or is
We're
that just spoilery?
Oh, no, not at all. There's a new character, actually. His name is Shun Akiyama. And he's essentially a loan shark, but he's different from other loan sharks. And I don't quite understand everything about what he's doing just yet. Like, the first chapter was him just going to make the rounds to remind someone to pay up their loan, and it was actually a pleasant conversation. It was actually an offshoot of the Tojo clan, the main family in Kamurocho, and then looks like there's some sort of turf war going on with a lesser branch of the Tojos, and now Shun has been arrested for basically a murder he didn't commit. So that's where I stopped. So I don't know what's going on next, but it's just weird not playing as Kiryu in a game like this. But I mean, I got to get used to that with Judgment coming out in June. So
this is true. And as for myself, well, I have been fully immersed in the wonderful gibberish that is Kingdom Hearts 2. I'm trying to plow through it so I can get to the rest of the in-between games that I missed before starting Kingdom Hearts 3, because you really can't skip a game in this series. Otherwise, you get there and you're like, who are these people? Why should I care? Why are half of them dead?
I feel like that's the sign of not great storytelling.
I think at this point they've tried to retcon in so much that they've painted themselves into a corner, and they're just doing like magician hands to try and distract us. It's still a lot of fun, but I'm not going to say it's the pinnacle of great storytelling.
Fair enough. I mean, this, you can still have fun with something with a gibberish story.
Oh yeah. It's like, okay, there are some plot beats that do make sense. There is like a sort of linear narrative, but if you can't think too hard about the inner workings, otherwise it starts to unravel really fast. And that actually leads us into today's topic. a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, if you tuned in to our last episode, you may have heard me say something along the lines of, let me see, Pokemon is just eugenics and cockfighting simulator changed my mind. And this got us all to thinking, once we crawled out of the dark place that contained the wreckage of our childhoods, video games are wonderful pieces of media, but at times, either by mechanics or by lore or other method, there's a horrifying subtext that's lurking just beneath the surface. So, everybody, I want you to bust out your tinfoil hats and make yourself like a lovely little, like, beret or whatever, because we're going to go analyze some games. A little bit too hard. So I thought we'd go around the table, pick one or two games, and expose their dark underbellies. Bonus points if it's adorable. So I thought we'd start with Sky. Sky, tell us about a game that you have overanalyzed into conspiracy theory territory.
Okay, well, that goes for most of them, to be honest. But but the one I picked is basically a duology, the Bat and Kaitos duology on the GameCube. There's something different about people in this game, and it's that everybody has wings. All the people have wings. They're otherwise totally normal human beings for the most part, but they have wings. The idea is that they're supposed to be projections of the soul and imply aspects of your character. But they are physical wings. People can fly short distances with them. I mean, sounds useful, right?
I do like wings.
Yeah. I mean, it's really cool, and there's different, like, they're not all the same either. But let's think about what's implied by this. And the games actually go into it a bit at times, which is a little horrifying. So, in the prequel game, Bat and Kaitos Origins, a certain character has their wings ripped out. The physical manifestation of their soul ripped out of their body. It's kind of hideous when you think about it.
Yeah, a little bit.
It nearly kills them, in fact, and you have to you end up being sent on a desperate quest for a rare medicine to help the person recover from this horrific thing that's happened to them. The other thing the wings, imply is that it means that everyone wears their personality and their trauma visibly. So in the first game, Eternal Wings in the Lost Ocean, there's one of the playable characters, Savina. She's had a very traumatic life, and you don't understand the full depths of it until you actually play the prequel, because it goes into it a bit. But she has peacock wings, implying, of course, that she can't fly. So think about it. She's weighed down by her horrible past. She cannot fly. It has had this dramatic effect on her soul. It's sad. Like, it's freaking sad is what it is.
Also, I guess I'm gonna say, at least it wasn't just like, here are my wings. They are bits of bone with skin attached to them.
Yeah. I mean, there's still the implication that, that there's something beautiful there, but she's so, you really do get the sense in the story that, she is weighed down by her past. She's weighed down by, all these horrible things that have happened to her, and she's not happy. And yeah, this is when one regrets taking English classes. And in another case, the protagonist of Eternal Wings, Callus, he has always had only one wing. He wears a mechanical wing as well, so that he can, fly. But he's shunned for only having one natural wing, because it means people think there's something wrong with him, that his soul is tainted. Turns out he's that way for a completely different reason. That goes into major spoiler territory, but he has to deal with all this
There we
He's
go.
ostracized because of, his single wing. And while you can't, while people have no way of knowing why he is the way he is, it's still a horrible thing. And yeah, he's a messed up guy. He's a messed up guy because of this and other things that have happened to him. And it's
So is he messed up because of the one wing, or is he messed up because of the way people have treated him because of the one wing?
he's messed up but because of how people treated him. But there are other things going on with Callus. This isn't the only thing.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm just proposing a chicken and egg.
Yeah,
Sort of thing.
it is very much a chicken and egg situation with Callus. But when you think about the implications of of the wings and how their personalities come out and how their trauma comes out and how it affects their lives, it makes this seemingly beautiful thing become kind of horrific in a sense.
Yeah, I wouldn't necessarily want to wear every worst moment of my entire life on my sleeve.
Yeah.
I mean, like, there's like no privacy.
Yeah, and I mean, like, it's not, it means people know that there's something going on, but they don't know the details of it, which is almost worse.
Yeah, because then they're free to like fill in whatever the heck they think.
Yeah,
They're free to
exactly.
fill in whatever details they want, and often like there's a reason the good horror movies don't show you the monster. Your mind fills in worse shit.
Yeah, exactly. And that's, I mean, and that's what happens, that's what happens to Callus, for instance, in terms of, you know, he doesn't even know why he is the way he is. Turns out he's a totally okay guy, but everyone, including himself, assumes not so much,
He
right?
thinks something's wrong with him because everybody else is treating him poorly.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean that's how it because that's what they believe about the wings and what in many cases is proven to be true about the wings. So it's kind of a horrible situation to be in, really.
Yikes. Poor
Yeah.
bastard.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Um yeah, that's all I got.
All right then. Well, on that incredibly cheerful note, let's pass it on over to Rafe. Rafe, what did you overthink a little bit too much?
Well, this one's almost is almost the pot calling the kettle black. But for me, I was thinking about the master-slave relationship that's associated with Prinnies and their horrific masters. And I'm already saying horrific, but I need you guys to bear with me for a second. So
This is Disgaea, right? Just for
yes, this is for the entire Disgaea series, just in the concept of the Prinny Master relationship. Think about this for a second. The Prinnies are the souls of the worst Earth had to offer. Murderers, thieves, rapists, Hitler, you name it. Now, imagine being forced into a life of servitude to a master who, if you think about it, would have to be worse than you in order for every single Prinny to not want to rebel. It's completely overshadowed by the fact that the Disgaea series is designed to be this light-hearted, comedic take on the Netherworld. But the fact is, Laharl, Etna, Valvatorez, all the other major leaders, regardless of whether or not they rewarded the good behavior, the punishments endured must have been infinitely worse compared to what these Prinnies did in their lives.
and we're very much including Hitler in that category.
Well, obviously.
Oh my god. I'm having a
Uh,
hard time conceiving of somebody like more evil.
but I also thought about it, like, not only are the Master's that cruel. But if you think about a specific level story chapter in the first Disgaea game where a bunch of Prinnies go missing and Laharl goes to hunt them down, at the end of this territory, and this is minor spoilers, but nothing too terrible from the first game, so don't worry too much. They find the Prinnies at this specific site and they undergo a ritual where their souls are finally being reborn. These particular Prinnies have paid their debt to the powers that be and are ready to try life one more time. Laharl had no idea that it was their time. So it's clear that the management is not paying any attention to hours served, time spent. So it makes you wonder how many Prinnies should have been reborn by now. But of course, due to the management's carelessness, nobody knows. There could be people who are overspending for their misdeeds.
Yeah, I mean, certainly they, certainly at very least, I know Etna very much is really hard on the Prinnies and really doesn't give a shit.
No, she does not.
Yeah, so, I mean, like, I'm sure she doesn't care when their time is, when their time is spent, when they've served their community service, so to speak.
Well, exactly, and that just goes to show like that could even be a worse level of torture in the next life. Like one can only hope that the reborn Prinnies don't have to remember anything of what they come back from.
But
Because
wouldn't
if
that
they
defeat the
do-
purpose of actually going through the punishments? If you don't remember you were punished, what's to stop you from doing it again?
I think it probably has more to do with bringing them back as better people. They pay their time in the afterlife, and then, I mean, this is conjecture, but they pay their time in the afterlife, and then are reborn to have better lives, to be better people.
I mean, you'd hope
That-
so.
You'd hope so.
Now there's one other thought to that point that I could kind of give as a counter. Now, that being said, what if modern day or even obviously past mental illnesses such as anxiety, PTSD, things like that, what if a lot of those can be sprung from that torture they received as a Prinnie?
Ugh.
You telling me that I was a serial killer in a past life, that's not, I feel very attacked by this very relatable content. I mean...
Ow. You're making my brain hurt. Stop it.
That's...
Yeah.
I thought mine was bad.
Yeah, I was expecting it to be a little bit more lighthearted. Oh my god. Now I think I just gonna need a drink after this episode.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Your idea.
I had a lot of trouble coming up with like what to think about. This was the only thing I could think about, and at the same time, I made it about hell and made hell worse. I feel like I've done my job for this week.
Well, you have, but like Sky and I have to sleep tonight.
Irene?
Oh yeah, it's my turn now, isn't it?
It's your turn now, and I can't believe I'm saying this, but please talk about Kingdom Hearts.
I am going to talk about Kingdom Hearts. I feel like I could really develop a great conspiracy theory about Kingdom Hearts but I think in order to get really deep and nitty gritty, the story has to hold together a bit better than wet paper and bits of string. So instead, I'm going to kind of go on something a little bit more super obvious. The ethical and moral implication of the nobodies. So in this universe, when a person loses their heart, they become a heartless. And they're dark, shadowy beings that only know how to lash out and hurt people. That in and of itself is a bit on the nose, right? Like when you're in a very dark place, what do? Likely not necessarily the best things. So if a person is strong-willed in this universe, the remains of their bodies, like the actual like corpse they leave behind, is reanimated as a nobody. And they often look quite different than the original bodies that they had. These beings, the nobodies, they have no feelings whatsoever. So it's very easy to consider them like little sociopaths, right? But they are capable of sentience, higher level thought, planning, strategy. That's all part and parcel with the nobody. And that's actually particularly true of Organization 13, the main villains from Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2. Is everybody with me?
More or less.
Okay, I'll draw a chart and maybe we'll upload it along with the episode. It'll have yarn. It'll be perfect. Anyway, I'll zero.
Yarn.
Yes, lots of yarn. I don't think I have enough. I'm going to zero in on Roxas specifically for a little bit. So he's Sora's nobody. And like all the other nobodies in Organization 13, he is a fully sentient individual with his own thoughts, goals, motivations, and like personality. And at the beginning of Kingdom Hearts 2, he gets unceremoniously stuffed back into Sora, where it basically becomes like the ghost in the machine, right? All good. Sora's made whole, everything's good, right? Wrong. By doing this, basically, Roxas is subjected to locked-in syndrome, a condition by which the person is fully conscious but cannot control their bodies. And we see that Roxas is still some sort of lingering presence in scenes where Sora starts to cry without prompting when encountering Roxas's old friends. So he's still very much in there, but he has no control over his body. Basically, like, I have no mouth, but I must scream all the time.
Great.
Like a separate consciousness that Sora is completely unaware of. So this is pretty terrible to start with. So, like, it was done by a character named Diz, who basically very much makes his feelings on nobodies pretty clear, that they're not supposed to exist, therefore they don't exist. And the main cast feels very little empathy towards these Organization 13 nobodies. Like, they're treated as speed bumps or tools at best. And Diz only sees this fully sentient other human being as a means to an end. And doesn't even feel bad about it. So I'm going to conclude that the main cast are monsters who routinely violate the humanity of others in order to achieve their own goals, and are completely incapable of the smallest shred of empathy for fully sentient humans. Like, I don't care if they have no feelings. They are still capable of their own thoughts and motivations. And that in and of itself is enough to sort of, like, I don't know, treat them as more than just pawns. And, like, the big thing that really bugs me about it is that the organization's main goal is Kingdom Hearts. Because if they get Kingdom Hearts, they can get hearts and be whole again. They can exist just like everyone else. They literally just want to be like everyone else. And while their methods to get there aren't great, it kind of stuns me that a softie like Sora, who is not bending over backwards to help them, like, it means that he's basically accepted what everyone else has told him about them and shunted them into the category of monsters and murderers without a second thought. Like, you're seeing this almost like learned hatred that's being passed down through these main characters of these nobodies, or at least not hatred maybe, but profound indifference. And I find that very difficult to, like, really accept, because, like, they're people. They look like people, they talk like people. Just because they don't have feelings doesn't necessarily mean they're not people. And yet, like, the main character, this, like, teenage boy, murders them with giant keys. With about the same amount of gravitas as he dispatches a Heartless. It's a little upsetting.
Yeah. And that's why sometimes we're just like, okay, time to turn off the brain.
Like, don't think about this. I love video games, but there are a lot of them where it's like, don't think about this too hard. Because if you do, this is not going to go well for you. Like, case in point, I was chatting with this about a friend of mine, And she mentioned, like, well, you could look at, like, Dark Souls. The trauma caused by endlessly dying, having to go pick up your body, and then dying all over again and just getting caught in an endless cycle of death and rebirth. That's gotta be really mentally challenging after a while.
Yep.
And that's in a lot of games. A lot of games. And then you've
Mhm.
got stuff like, like Skyrim and Fallout, where, like, you just literally walk into people's homes and take their shit.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Without thinking.
Well, most of the RPG genre, really.
Yeah, you just walk in, it's like, oh yeah, there's a treasure chest here. This is clearly not somebody's life savings. It's mine now. And you just walk out with it. So are these people just, like, constantly living in fear of having some random person, like, wander into their house and just take their furniture? Like, I'm really confused. And is it like the hero just doesn't take the furniture because it's not useful to them?
Yeah.
It's getting more useful to them now since most games have crafting elements.
This is true. It's like, hey, I know you really like your toilet, but I need the porcelain.
Atelier's
make this
industry
breastplate.
leader to change my mind.
So, one Atelier game, like, years after Arona saved her workshop in Ireland, you walk into any house and it's literally just empty rooms because she's used everything in the alchemy, including the people.
Yeah, that would actually not Verona. Let's not do this with Verona, but that would make a great alchemist villain.
It's like, here's my alchemy. It's made of people. It's just like Soylent alchemy.
Soylent alchemy.
Well, that's all I had for today. Is there anybody else have any closing thoughts?
No. I think we got it covered. I'm sure you guys don't even want to hear anything coming out of my mouth anymore. So,
well, just all like debrief, have ourselves a nice stiff drink or a nice relaxing tea, and try to go back and I'll try and go back and enjoy my game about Disney characters without necessarily trying to think of the horrifying implications that lurk just beneath the surface of all that gibberish. I think the gibberish is to hide the horror, to be honest.
Pretty much.
So, with that said, so where can we find everybody? Rayfe, you are at where?
I am on Twitter at Billionaires XP. You'll also see me eventually on Twitch, but for now, I'm on there lurking on everyone else's streams, and I'll be under Rayfe Thegrim, all one word.
Awesome. Sky, what about you?
I'm at Skyknight XP on Twitter and on Twitch. I've been streaming Sims 4 Strangerville. And it looks like I'm going to aim for Tuesday nights to be my regular stream night. There may be the occasional extra one, but Tuesdays.
Nice. Awesome. And I am at iRogue_XP on Twitter and Twitch.
Yes.
And for the for Women's History Month, I will be playing games that are starring women protagonists. So please, people, leave comments. I know I've already got the Atelier games listed as potentials. I'm thinking also maybe Horizon, because I just really love that game and I've been itching to replay it lately.
Oh, yes, and I should mention, too, that our website is xpbillionaires.wordpress.com.
Yes, and we also have our Ko-fi, which is at... Rayfe, what's the address again?
It's coffee.com/xpbillionaires. And most importantly, with regards to that, we've actually set up a new donation goal this week. We're basically looking to get donations in order to purchase some Blue Yeti mics, so we can sound that much clearer to you all while we are podcasting and streaming. So every little bit helps. We're looking to get 2. Since Sky and I record in the same place, we can just share the one, and then we'll get one to Irene.
I was actually looking at them. I will keep you guys informed if I spot any good deals as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. And we've got our own leads too, so we'll
awesome.
We'll know when stuff comes up.
We also have our YouTube channel, XP Billionaires, on YouTube as well, where we have uploaded all of our past Twitch streams and episodes of the podcast. So check it out if you missed anything.
I think pretty much covers it.
I think so too. I very much like this chair, this like leading chair. It's nice. But, I guess I sort of have to give the podcast back to Rayfe. Sigh. Okay, fine.
We'll make sure you guys get some more some more time on here. I mean, I can't always be the voice of reason.
Not after today.
No, it was fun being the voice of Discord today.
We should probably be careful about how often we let you use those powers. It can be very dangerous letting Rayfe use his powers of Discord.
All right, I think we should probably go. Bye, folks.
Bye.
All right, bye.